Hi, I'm Elizabeth. Even though I was 18, Mom still had complete control over my life, and that's putting it mildly. She was a total control freak. She was acting like even the sun needed her permission to peek out from behind the clouds. Okay, that might have been a slight exaggeration, but only a slight one. Mom was remarkably old-fashioned and mind-bogglingly strict. She didn't even let me listen to modern music. Oh, my poor ears! Turn that abomination off. I wasn't allowed to put on makeup either. You don't need it to look beautiful. Take that junk off. She barely even let me use my phone. Read a book instead. The internet is full of utter garbage. Yeah, I know. The worst thing was that she forbid me from hanging out with boys. Why? Well, she believed that real ladies should focus on their studies and their future. I'll let you go on dates once you turn 21. But in the meantime, no boys. Were we living in the 18th century? Made me want to rip my hair out. But then, I figured out a way to benefit from her dumb rules. Oh, sorry, I gotta take this. Hello? Have I forgot to mention something? Oh, right. I'll get right on it. The private diary asked me to remind you of something. Please press like and subscribe to the channel. Your love warms us better than hot coffee in the middle of winter. But I digress. I figured out a way to use Mom's rules. I would choose a random, handsome guy and flirt with him a little, and then the poor guy would fall for me. Soon enough, they would start serenading under my window. Oh, Elizabeth, you're sweeter than 100 sweets, I bet. I would pretend to be over the moon, and that's usually when my mom would show up and furiously demand I turn the guy down. No dating until you're 21! But Mom, he's so cute. If you break up with him, I'll buy you a ticket to that concert you wanted to go to. Deal. After that, I would tell my admirer of the week that I no longer felt anything for him. Then, I would take the money and go to the concerts, buy clothes, and have fun. You could say I was running a business. And then, one day, a cute guy called James moved in next door to us. It was time to play big. Hello, gorgeous. I decided he would help me get money for a trip to Italy. I decided I wouldn't reinvent the wheel and get straight to flirting with James. Wow, you're so tall and strong. Can you get me an apple from that tree? I would pull the moon from the sky for you. James fell instantly head over heels in love with me. The poor thing. Our fake fling didn't last long. Soon enough, Mom saw us flirting and lost it as usual. Get away from my daughter! Elizabeth, I'm going to make you wear a mask! Maybe then boys will finally stop asking you out. She dragged me home and started demanding I turn down my neighbor. But I said I couldn't live without James, and he made my heart race and I would never get over him if we broke up. Mom panicked. Sweetie, I'll do anything if you dump him. Anything, huh? I told her I wanted to go to Italy. Mom gritted her teeth, but agreed. I immediately broke up with James, feeling no guilt over it. He realized that I had used him and swore I would regret it. You'll pay for this. Okay, but can you get that revenge later? I need to pack. A few days after that, I was on my way to Rome. Let me tell you a little secret. My mom was worried over nothing. I wasn't interested in boys at all. I preferred spending time with girls. Brittany, for example. We had been friends our whole lives, and we went to Italy together. Your mom wouldn't let you hang out with me if she knew the truth. Luckily, she's too busy protecting you from boys. Call me Miss Genius. Our trip was unforgettable. Unfortunately, it was soon time to go home. My life had turned upside down. The second I came home, Mom said that she had great news, and she was smiling like a wacko. Elizabeth, I'll let you date, but only if I choose your boyfriend myself. Then, she enthusiastically told me about Charlie, the son of her new friends. I'm sure you'll swoon as soon as you see him. He's well-mannered and polite, and he won the city's chess competition. Oh, I can't wait to set you up with him. His parents invited us for dinner tonight. My heart sank. I didn't want to date Charlie or any other guy, but I couldn't say that to my mom. She wouldn't understand. I tried to force a smile. Yay! I can't wait. I had no choice but to go with my mom. Mr. and Mrs. Roberts looked like stone statues. They didn't smile once. Mrs. Roberts looked me up and down and rang a small bell. a tall, elegant guy walked into the room. Mom, did you call me? Yes, I want you to meet Elizabeth. We've decided you'll make a good couple, but no one asked for your opinion. Right, sorry. The dead-eyed guy gallantly kissed my hand like a robot. I'd always thought my mom was old-fashioned and strict, but she had nothing on Charlie's parents. They treated their son terribly. My new boyfriend and I sat at the table all evening and listened to our parents criticize modern teenagers.
The kids these days have no shame. We should be stricter with them.
Too true! Have you seen what's fashionable these days? It's absolutely disgusting. Their words made my blood boil, but Charlie was surprisingly calm and polite. At the end of the evening, Mr. and Mrs. Roberts said they would approve of me, and they let me go on a date with their precious son. What an honor! Elizabeth, I'll pick you up tomorrow at 6. I nodded dejectedly, and my mom and I finally went home. That evening was nuts. I locked myself in my room and called Brittany and told her about it. Mom wants me to go on a date with Charlie tomorrow. What should I do? Don't worry, I'll take care of it. By the time I'm done with him, he won't want to go near you. By the way, don't you think it's time we told your mom about us? It would make our lives so much easier. No, now is not the right time. I'm afraid Mom will have a stroke if she hears news like that. Okay, still, you will have to tell her sooner or later. The next day, Charlie picked me up at 6 sharp as promised, and not a minute later. Was he a robot after all? I have everything planned. First, we're going to a museum and then to a cafe. I've already booked the table. It was gonna be a long evening. I hoped Brittany would turn our date into a real nightmare and Charlie would want nothing to do with me by the end of it. Of course, I could have taken care of it myself. After all, I had a lot of experience in turning down guys. I just didn't want to fight with my mom though, so I was counting on Brittany to be my knight in shining armor. Things didn't go according to plan though, to say the least. No matter what Brittany did, Charlie overcame all the challenges with grace. For example, my friend came to the museum's parking lot and started to shout that Charlie's car had splashed her with muddy water. Her clothes were spotless though. Any other guy would have shouted right back at her. But Charlie was too well-mannered for that. He politely apologized to Brittany and even paid for her laundry. He's a tough nut to crack, but I'm not used to giving up either. After we walked into the museum, Brittany shoved Charlie and he almost fell onto an exhibit. By some miracle, he kept his balance. Wow, how did you do that? My parents made me play chess ever since I was a child, but I've always dreamed of being an acrobat. I've been practicing walking tightrope for several years now. Holy guacamole, that's awesome! We finally arrived at the cafe. Brittany was already waiting for us there. She took our food from the waiter and was about to drop it all on Charlie, but he caught the plates as they were falling. Everyone in the cafe clapped. Brittany and I looked at each other. Our plan to ruin the date had failed. The evening was coming to an end. I made a sign to tell Brittany to go home and kept chatting with Charlie. To be honest, he surprised me. Charlie was actually an interesting and good guy. I asked him why he let his parents treat him like trash. You could tell them that you want to become an acrobat. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. My parents would never understand. I sighed heavily. After all, I was too afraid to tell my mom the truth about myself, too. No sooner had I come back home than my mom informed me that we were having a picnic with the Roberts the next day. There was talk of a wedding already. What was I supposed to tell Brittany? We chose a place by the river in the park for our picnic. Charlie and I were listening to the adults talk, and at some point he gently took my hand. Oh no, was he into me? I was so nervous my butt was sweating. I knew that Brittany was watching us, and at one point Mom looked at Charlie and I and beamed. Oh, you two look so good together. To my surprise, Mr. and Mrs. Roberts went ballistic and demanded their son let go of my hand. How shameless. Young people don't have any manners these days. Even my mom seemed weirded out by that. When we got home, she said that Mr. and Mrs. Roberts were too old-fashioned. It's the 21st century. What's shameless about holding hands? No offense, Mom, but you aren't that different from them. That's just not true. Really? So you didn't forbid me from listening to modern music and using makeup? That's different. Even though Mom didn't agree with me, my words clearly bothered her. I went to talk to Brittany. I saw you at the picnic. You and Charlie look great together. Stop it. You know I'm not interested in him. Wow, I think he's not interested in you either. What? Brittany stared past me, dumbfounded. I followed her gaze and saw Charlie. He was on a walk with some guy. Charlie saw me and turned white as a cheat. The jig is up. He came closer and admitted he wasn't interested in girls and only pretended to like me so his parents wouldn't suspect anything. This is Fred. We met at the acrobatics club. I was so relieved I burst out laughing. We have more in common than I realized. I only went on a date with you so that Mom would leave me alone. I told him I wasn't interested in boys and introduced Brittany to Charlie and Fred. Since then, the four of us spent a lot of time together. Charlie and I just kept pretending like we were an item. Things were going great until one day, James crashed back into my life. Brittany and I went to Charlie's performance and my neighbor saw us there. Well. So this is why you turned down a handsome guy like me? What would your mom say if she found out your secret? Get lost and mind your own business. I promised I'd get back at you, didn't I? He took out his phone and started filming us. But then Charlie noticed that I was in trouble. My friend stopped in the middle of the performance and stood up for me. Are you deaf? She told you to back off. He chased James away, but I was afraid that wouldn't be the last time I saw him. Unfortunately, I was right. Mom threw a party for my birthday and invited all my friends and Charlie's family. Mr. and Mrs. Roberts did nothing but grumble and complain. They didn't like anything.
Oh, my poor eyes. Honey, look at what these teenagers are wearing.
What kind of music is this? I was afraid that Mom would try to placate them and ruin everything, but to my surprise, she took my side. That's modern music. Quit acting like you're as old as dinosaurs and have some fun. She looked at me and suddenly apologized for having been so controlling for so long. Mom admitted that she was afraid she would become just like Charlie's parents. I want us to understand each other, sweetie. By the way, I have another surprise for you. Remember when I told you to dump James? I don't mind if you hang out with him anymore. I even invited him to the party. What? No. Why on earth would she do that? I was done for. James came up to us with a sly smile and said he had a gift for me. With those words, he turned on a projector to show everyone the video he'd filmed at the circus. There was pin drop silence. Everyone saw Brittany and I, and Mom realized I wasn't interested in boys and never had been. Mom, let me explain. This is a disaster. I don't want to hear anything. The worst part was Charlie was also in the video, so his parents found out about his hobby.
This is a disaster. My son performing in a circus like some sort of clown.
Fred couldn't bear it and stood up for his friend.
You're wrong. Charlie is talented and should get a say in his own life.
After that, it became clear to Mr. and Mrs. Roberts that their son had never dated me for real and had many secrets. They made a scene and dragged Charlie away from the party. It was ruined anyway. The guests left and Mom locked herself in the bathroom. She refused to talk to me. James was the only one who was having any fun. He kept giggling as he ate my cake. This is the best party I have ever been to. I lost my temper and I was about to rip him a new one. But Brittany stopped me. Be the bigger person, Elizabeth. Karma will punish this scumbag. She was right. Besides, the way I treated James hadn't been right either. I gave up any thought of revenge. My friend helped me clean up and left. I kept calling Charlie to see if he was okay, but his phone was turned off. The door suddenly opened and Mom walked into the room. She sat down next to me and took my hand. Sweetheart, I've been thinking a lot and realized that I love you no matter what. The time is different now. I'll accept any choice you make, but please don't keep any more secrets from me.
I burst into tears of joy and pulled Mom into a bear hug.
I was sure that we'd be best friends now. The next morning, I called Brittany and told her that I'd made up with my mom and suggested we visit Charlie. My friend still hadn't answered his phone. Charlie's father opened the door and indifferently said that he had sent his son to a military camp. Then he slammed the door in our faces. I was mad and sad at the same time. Why wouldn't Charlie's parents accept him? Poor Charlie. We have to help him. A car pulled up next to us. Fred was sitting behind the wheel and smiling mysteriously. Girls, I'm going to get Charlie out of the military camp. Are you coming? Brittany and I agreed without hesitation. Charlie's parents suck, but at least he has some good friends. We have a new adventure ahead of us, but I'll tell you about it some other time. In the meantime, please like this video and tell me what you think in the comments down below.